And we're back with another edition of NX Office Hours. We're going with the cold open this time, as they call it, where you just go straight into the panelists. We were just talking right before we started about getting one of those. We need like a loading screen or something for the stream. We're just gonna have like spinning narwhals to hypnotize the viewers before while they wait on us to come from behind the curtain. So
Should
we'll
have
see.
like dancing narwhals or something.
Yeah, dancing narwhals. We need narwhals like on the screen somewhere. We got to make that happen somehow. We have to get with the design team to make that happen. But yeah, this is NX Office Hours where we talk about all things NX and the community and just things that are happening in those areas. I am Brandon Roberts, and we have a whole crew today, and this is have a whole crew today, and I'll let them go ahead and introduce themselves before we get started. So whoever wants to jump in first and go ahead.
Yeah, I'm Colum. I'm senior engineer at Nrwlians, and I've been working with Nx Devkit since I joined, really. So, yeah.
Yeah, I'm Isaac. I'm an architect in Narwhal, and yeah, I help write up the docs. And Colum is lucky; he gets to work on the Nx Dev Kit full time. I work on the docs 1 day a week, and so I'm always playing catch up. But it's it's interesting stuff. I get to find out what all the other people are doing and write it down.
Yeah, same here. I think have a little more time to dig into the docs and dig into the GitHub comments or GitHub PRs and things to see what's landing, so we can make content around that. But yeah, definitely a lot of cool stuff going on with the dev kit there. So this was if you were caught in office hours last time, we did a session on workspace automation, and that was centered around the dev kit, NX dev kit, and building things or building generators and executors inside your NX workspace. And this is a continuation of that one. We're going to continue that and talk more about executors and generators and how you can customize those to your needs. So yeah, before we get into that, we did want to really talk about or briefly talk about the NX Dev Kit and how we're moving along with that on our own packages, because it's something that, like Isaac said, Column as and the rest of the NX team has been doing a lot of work on moving that around. So, Colin, you want to go ahead and give us an update there before we dive
Yeah, sure.
in?
Yeah, so internally within Nrwlians, our official plugins that we offer, the majority of them written in Nx Devkit already, except for Nrwlians Angular and Nrwlians Nest. So there was a push recently to make sure all our plugins were using Nx Devkit. The Nrwlians Angular one now is completed. We've got everything that we wanted done for that done. We're moving on now to Nrwlians Nest. So soon everything will be using Nx Devkit internally, and that just means it's better for us for debugging issues that might arise because there's better traceability, better stack traces, and I think there might be better performance issues or better performance, sorry, with the Nx Dev Kit, but that's something we need to measure more closely and do better benchmarks on so we can actually talk about that. There is some issues that might arise though with the Nrwlians Angular package now being upgraded to Nx Dev Kit, and that would be based around if you've got your own plugins or your own workspace generators that or workspace schematics, sorry, that use the call external schematic function. Because of a compatibility issue between the NX DevKit tree and the Angular tree, there might be some issues that occur because of that, but we're currently working to iron those out. So just something to be aware of. But if you use NX DevKit for your generators, workspace generators, you should be fine.
Cool. Yeah, like I said, because I'm good ongoing work there. So if you're working with, like I said, working with NX Dev Kit, or have like an NX plugin, I would also say you should take a look at migrating like your plugin infrastructure like underneath to NX Dev Kit also, to make that transition easier in that way. I see we have a couple of people in the chat. Thanks everyone for showing up there. We'll try to get to your questions if we have time. And if not, we always collect the questions that come from our viewers and look at those for future episodes. So I'll get the link here and the link here for the form you can fill out. And if you have any other questions for future episodes that we don't get to here, you can add those there. So with that, I think we'll move into the next part of our session today, which is, I guess we're going to talk, or we're going to start with executors, Isaac, or?
Yep.
Yep. So I guess we can do a quick recap of what executors are, and then we can get into the
Yeah,
what
let's
you're
do
gonna
that. So executors are basically like replacements for NPM scripts on a high level. So anything that that you're going to act on your code. So building, testing, linting, anything that the output is not committed back into your Git history, that's going to be an executor. And whereas generators are changing your code somehow, making new code or modifying your existing code somehow. So that's the basic breakdown between the two. And so last time we did a little look at generators, creating static files and creating files that have some dynamic content inserted in them. And we lightly touched on executors, but today I'm going to do a deeper dive on executors and get into actually modifying files with the generators. So let's start with, okay, I'm going to share my screen. Screen 2. There we go. All right, I should probably bump up this font size here.
Okay.
All right.
Let's see, do I need to add you, or do I need to add your screen, or can you add it?
I can, nope, I cannot do it.
Okay, there you go.
Perfect. All right, so I'm going to go through a technique here that is currently not on our documentation site, but will be shortly. I've got a PR up that we're trying to get it in there. But basically, to make a custom executor, it's the current process is a little bit involved, and so this process that I'm going to show you now is a little bit more streamlined. So here's what we're going to do. So first, we're going to make sure that we have the Nx plugin dependency installed. Let's see. At Narwhal, Nx Cloud. So we do not have Nx plugin installed. So we're going to run yarn add -d at Narwhal /Nx plugin. So the Nx plugin package, I can show you on our on nx.dev here. The Nx plugin package is used for building your own package and building your own plugin, basically. So it has things for creating an executor, creating generators, and so it creates a new project inside of your repo and wires everything up so that you can have testing in place and building everything that's needed to wire up your executor and your generator. And you can have obviously you can have multiple executors and multiple generators inside of your plugin. So I'm going to go through a workflow here where even if you don't actually want to publish a plugin and give it may open source it and may have other people use it outside of your organization, it still would be useful to use this Nx plugin because it can help you wire up your own custom executor to use just inside of your repo. And now I'm kind of stalling while this install finishes.
I see. So this is, like you said, a little different than how you would, no, maybe in other ways you would kind of build this plugin separately and bring it in, or and like you said,
Yeah.
do more of the open source where you kind of have to publish it and then bring it into your repo that way. But this one is more, like you said, internal only, to where
Right.
you can you don't have to publish it as like a private package on npm just to be able to use it within your workspace, right?
Right. Right. And you don't have to spin up a whole other repo just to get it working. Okay. So I've installed the Nx plugin, and I'm going to run plugin. So I'm going to create a plugin here. So there's multiple generators that come with the Nx plugin package. This creates the whole plugin structure, the plugin generator here. Executor adds an executor to an existing plugin. Generator adds a generator to an existing plugin. And migration adds a migration generator to your plugin. So people going from one version of your plugin to a future version can update. This migration one is only really necessary for plugins that you're sharing with other people. If you've got it in your own repo, you're just going to do the migration yourself when you update your own code. But we're just going to create a plugin, and I'm just going to call it local here, I guess, to say that this is just running in this repo. You could name it whatever you want. So I'm going to run it.
Yeah, we should have had the, I know this is coming soon, but had the dependency graph up there, because this is part of the, like I said, part of the projects in your workspace now, right? Or is it just generated?
Yes, it is part of the projects in my workspace. So local gets created here underneath libs. And so this has my, so yeah, we can look at while it's doing install again. So these are the files that get generated here. So it has, underneath executors, there's one build executor, and underneath generators, there's a generator called local, matching the name of the plugin here. And we can change these. And actually, I will change these. I'm going to change this build executor. I'm going to rename it. I'm going to rename a couple places, but I'm going to call it Echo, because we're just going to have this. We're just going to have this executor just echo out whatever options come in and just print them to the screen, just with its console log. And so if I'm changing that, I also need to change this executors.json file here. So I changed that folder to be echo, so I'll change that. And then I'll call this echo as well. So this part here is the name that the CLI uses to name this executor when you're running, or NX console for that matter. And then we need to give it a description of echoes the options to the console.
Yeah, so we got Devin. We got Devin in the chat here. Said big fan of all the work gone into executors and generators. So we got one person in the chat excited about it. I know other people using it too. So there you go.
Good. Okay, so this default executor already echoes things out. So let's see, executor ran for build. We'll call it echo instead of build. And we can rename this, I guess, to executor echo schema. So this is all unnecessary stuff just to rename it, but okay, that's not right. I'll do that, and then I'm going to go into here. Okay, that's good. I'm going to change this. Okay, I think we're good. Okay, so I've got this all set up, and so that's all that was needed to make this executor. Just like an Nx generator, this is an async function that you call just like any other JavaScript function. You run it, and then you can return a result object here. So you can do whatever node things you want to do in here. You could import like child process and like spawn a node process in here, or do something on the file system if you need to, or whatever else you need to do in here. So to run this, we need to wire it up in our workspace.json. And what I'm going to do, let's see, what are all the things? I wonder if it did a format something in here. Anyway, doesn't matter. I'm just going to take the first project here, cart, I guess, and I'm going to change its executor to our newly created executor. And actually, we can't run it directly from TypeScript here. What we need to do first is we need to build it. So we can do nx build local. So I didn't do all the wiring up of tsconfig and all this other stuff. That just came out of the generator. So I can just run nx build local, and that builds the plugin for us, which has the executor and it has that custom generator, which for our purposes, we can ignore that. And it created inside of this folder here, dist libs local, and this is where the package.json file is. And inside of source here, it has compiled versions of our executor. It's got a console log, and this looks like the compiled code here. So in our workspace.json, instead of referencing a package name here, we can use a relative path to a local folder. So I can do /dist/libs/local, and I want it to go to whichever folder has the package.json, which is this folder. And then you do : the name of the executor. So our executor is not called build. Our executor is called echo. And so now if I run build on the cart project, it should execute our nx build cart. It should do our echo. So this echoed out the options. So that's great. So that's working on my machine. But if I commit this and somebody else downloads it, this is not going to work. This is going to fail. So basically, they'll download it, and the dist folder won't be there, and they'll run nx build cart, and they'll get all these errors, and they'll say, "Hey, you broke the build. What did you do, Isaac? Come fix this."
They just work on taking away your commit access for a little bit.
Right.
The build.
So in order to to not get people upset at you, you want to add a post install hook. So we already have a post install hook in here. So I'm just going to add on to it. And I'm going to do nx build local. So that's a normal action that people take when they download new code. If something breaks, usually the next step you take is you install your dependencies, because that's probably what broke. And so if they do that, then it'll work for them. So if they do, well, we've got yarn installed here, so we'll do yarn. So now it built our package, and now they'll do nx build cart, and it'll work. So that's a pretty clean, and it's a lot simpler. So in the documentation before, it had you doing, let's see, creating custom builders. It had you manually making this folder structure yourself, and manually setting up the executor.json. It's nice to know what these files do, but you shouldn't have to make them yourself. It's much easier to modify them than create them yourself. So that's why we're updating this.
Yeah, kind of like what we have with the workspace generators, where it just makes it a little easier to run those within your local workspace.
Yep. Okay, so that's all I have for executors here. Now let's look at generators. Over here, so the generators that we made last time, we had some literary themed.
I missed these last time. You have to catch
We
me
did
up on what these,
Bohemian Rhapsody lyrics, dropping those into your library, and we did "Oh Captain, My Captain" with replacing things in here from the poem. So this is frankly a lot easier. Creating files is a lot easier than editing files, and so we're going to talk about there's basically a level of progression that you want to go in when you're making new. We're gonna edit files. So the easiest thing to do is question, do I actually need to do this? So do I really need to do this?
you got to make that decision tree, huh?
Yeah, make that decision tree. So the second easiest thing. So if you say no, then you're done with no effort at all. Then the second thing is let's compose together existing generators, and we covered that a little bit last time. The default generator invokes the library generator, and that's a real simple and easy way. Basically, you're pushing off all the complexity onto someone else's code. They have to figure out how to change things in the right way. Usually it's Nrwlian engineers that have to do that, but that's all right. That's what we're here for, and so that makes it easier for you. The third easiest way to do it is to do string replace. So obviously this can be problematic, string replace, or you can use regex.
No, you said the word, bringing regex in.
Yeah. So right. So string replace is you don't know if you're inside of a comment, or if you're changing a variable name, or if you're changing a I don't know. Just a string, that's a string value. So you don't know where this value is that you're replacing. And if that's really important and that actually matters to your modification, then you want to use ASTs. So these go from easier to harder, and you only want to reach for ASTs if you feel like you need to. So let's do this.
And then you go and cry in the corner for a little while because you have to use the ASTs to be as accurate as you want to.
Right. Well, and then when you're using ASTs, like if you can do it well, then that can be, you can make like a small generator that other generators, then you can kind of revert back to step 2, and you've got you've got an AST that does some small piece that gets reused a lot, and then you can kind of reuse that in other places. So hopefully you do this as infrequently as you can, so that you can jump back up to this easier part up here. Okay, so let's do. Let's say we want to. We're gonna make a workspace generator here, and what should we have it do? I think in the docs that I wrote a couple weeks ago, we wanted to replace the. So there's this historical conflict, I guess, between Thomas Edison and Nikola Tesla, and about who invented the light bulb and who is really responsible for pioneering electricity. Edison gets all the got a lot of the historical attention. People, when you say who invented the light bulb, most people say Edison, and only smaller percentage of people know who Tesla is. So we're going to try and rectify that, and we're going to
reversing history on the string.
That's right. We're going to replace Thomas Edison with Tesla. Writing. Let's see. Who invented? Here. Giving Tesla his due. There we go. Like that. Okay, so we're going to go with. We're going to decide that this is critical. We absolutely have to do this. and there's no existing generator that's going to do this for us. We're going to go with step 3 here and do a string replace, and we want to replace. We're going to replace Thomas Edison with Nikola Tesla. I think I'm spelling it right. Somebody
I think we should
correct me in the comments.
Jump straight to ASTs for that, but no, just kidding.
We could.
No, please don't.
Okay. Well, I want to get there by the end of the hour, so
Yeah.
Okay, so here's what we're going to do. We're going to, let's see. So this is our workspace generator here. We're going to have our schema be interface, my schema, and we'll just give it a file name, file path to replace in. String. Okay. Schema there. Okay, so we don't need that, and we don't need that. Frankly, we don't need this. All right, so what we're going to do, we're going to use the tree here, and we're going to do a tree dot read and schema dot file path. So this gets the contents of the file here, and it comes back as a buffer. So we're going to do a toString in here to make it being an actual string, and then we'll do a tree dot write. Contents dot replace, and then the search value is Thomas Edison, and the replace value is Nikola Tesla. And we've got problems here. Tree.write. Oh, we need to give it a path. Schema.file path. There we go. And then the content is the second value. Okay, so let's do this. And let's give ourselves a I'm going to put a temporary file in here. Test file.txt. I think Thomas Edison is great. Thomas
Colum is pulling double duty here. I'm gonna put his tip up on the screen here. Make sure you await format files or any generator that you call it uses it. So just be forewarned there about make sure that you have that together so you don't run into those race conditions. Yeah. You wanna
race conditions on which part?
You said on your, oh, go ahead.
Yeah.
If you're doing format files.
Yeah, because it tries to resolve a load of promises, because it calls prettier within promises. If you don't wait on that, then it can lead to mutations within the tree, which can undo certain aspects of what you've done so far.
Yep. So tree.write is synchronous, though, right?
Yes. Yep.
Yeah. So that you don't have to await. I mean, I think you can, and it doesn't hurt anything.
Yeah. But,
so if you're not sure, just throw an await on there, and although I don't like that. Single line. Okay, so I'm going to do this, and let's run our.
Colum, you sound like you're speaking from personal experience on.
I spent a
that
week debugging a race condition that ended up being a missing await.
Oh wow.
Okay, so we've got the wrong schema here. It still thinks it takes a library name. That's because I didn't update the schema.json. So we want file path. That's a string. So let's change this. File path. File to modify. And I think we'll probably need to reload this window.
So is this your typical workflow where you build the generator or build the generators locally and use NX console to kind of test them out or dry run them, or?
Yeah, I like to use Nx console to just make sure I'm accounting for everything. Because if I had run this from the command line, I would not have noticed that the schema.json was not lined up.
That's a good point.
And
Yeah, I think I previously would have done it the other way, where I just write the generator, then immediately try to run it, and it fails, and then I have to go digging for it. But I like that tip of using NX console to kind of verify the schema of what you're trying to run.
So I don't know. NX console is taking a while to boot up again, so I'm just going to do it from the command line here. After I, and then I'm going to copy this relative path here. That's weird. So it won't run it because of that linting error. All right. So I can do. Okay. Save that.
And install packages task as well.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Man, those linters are tough. Okay.
They are, yeah. Okay. Okay, so name is missing. Oh, that's because my schema.json is incorrect. It's requiring name. We should be requiring path here. Try that. Okay, so we ran it, and my temp file. So it just replaced the first instance of Thomas Edison. And if I ran it again, it'll change the second one. So we need to update here. So that's what this string.replace does. It replaces only the first instance. So if we want to do more than one, you have to use a regular expression in there. And the /G here on the end means the global find and replace. So that'll work on everything in here. So if I do undo, no. Say copy that, and now I'll run this again. Well, let's see if the NX console has come back. There we go. Just go.
If you want to avoid regex altogether, from node 15 onwards, you can use a replace all, which is a new string method that's supported in Node.js.
Yeah, that's really good. Also, I mean, obviously, regex can do more than just replace all, but
yeah.
But I'm not going to get into all the regex stuff because I'd prefer to do ASTs over regex. Okay, so I ran that.
Going straight for the hammer, huh?
Yeah, straight for the hammer. And let's see what happened. Unable to resolve. This is due. Generator. Okay, so we have. If I run here, this should work. Okay, so that updated, and it updated both those things. And this one is Workspace generator here, index.tst, index.ts.
So are you just working or looking through running it on the command line versus using NX console, or? Yeah,
I was looking at NX console. NX console threw an error here, and I'm not sure exactly why, but I think I'm just going to move on. I bet if I relaunched it again, it would clear up, because we made all these changes in the schema.json, and it's saying it can't find name when I had changed that a few times in here.
Oh,
so okay. I think it was having trouble, getting up to date there. Okay, so that's good for that. Now let's do this. Let's do this again, and let's do the AST option. And this time, I want to generate a workspace generator again, another one. workspace generator here.
So
And
just to call out, there is a difference in where like you said, when you generated an NX plugin or a local plugin, and you
yes,
did an executor, it was inside of a library fold, inside the libs local
yep.
library, but the generators themselves are under the tools.
Yeah, so workspace generators live under here, under tools, generators in here. Whereas if I could have added this generator to the local plugin here that I made earlier. And that would also work, but that one needs an extra step of building it and putting in the dist folder before I could test it. Whereas if I use the workspace generator flow, then I can just immediately run it with the Nx workspace generator command. So that's the only difference there. Okay, so I'm going to make a new one. Tesla strikes back. Call that. Did it make it? I have to click run. Okay. That was a dry run. All right, so Tesla strikes back. This case, we're going to not have the schema change at all. We're going to keep it being a library name, and we're just going to look at any file inside of that library. I'm going to see if I can find some code that I used earlier that has that recurses through all the files in a certain path. So let me pull that up.
And you always, just as a note, you always want to use a generator when you need to modify files or generate things like that, right? The executor is for actionable things like long-running tasks.
Yeah. So I just pasted in this code because I don't want to, have to do this again. But basically, this is a function that it's going to go run this callback function on every file inside of a particular path. So you give it a tree and a path, and then it's going to run whatever callback function you give it on every file inside of there. So it goes through all the children, and if it's a folder, it goes through each of the files underneath it, and if it's a file, it runs the callback on that file. Okay, so we are going to use. So what we want to do is basically find let's see. Let's see if we can do this. If we can do, if the function is, if a variable, change all variables named. Oh, and the other thing about ASTs only make sense for TypeScript code. They don't make sense for like markdown files or text files or anything. That's not actual TypeScript code. Change all variables named Thomas Edison to Nikola Tesla. So this will not change comments. This will not change string values. This will only change actual variables that have this name. And we're going to use a utility called tsquery, which is very handy. Put this in here. And let's see, we're going to do...
Say shout out to Craig Spence for putting that library together. We'll share a link to that in the chat here and in the show notes.
And add -d at phenom nominal, phenom nom nominal.
I think he adds more noms to his username whenever he registers on the
nom
site.
nom. All right. So what we're going to do is we're going to also use the AST Explorer. That's it.
Yeah, whenever I have to use AST, this is definitely my go-to site here for being able to see what that AST looks like.
Okay, so we have our input, and we're going to call it Thomas Edison here. And we want the output to be Nikola Tesla. And let's see, we're going to do, this should still be Thomas Edison, and something equals Thomas Edison. This should still be Thomas Edison here. So these should still be untouched. We want an input of something like this should look like this at the end. Okay. So what you can do is you can click on here. So what you want to go up here and make sure you're on TypeScript for the parser, and the transform. I think the transform you want to be TypeScript here. I guess that doesn't matter. That's what goes on down at the bottom here. So that transform, I don't think, maybe that doesn't matter. So you click on Thomas Edison here, and you can see on the right-hand side, you see it's the node type here is identifier, and the text inside of it is Thomas Edison. So we're going to use TS query to find all the identifier nodes that have text of Thomas Edison. And I'll pull up TS query in here so I can show you what the. Actually, I think there's TS query playground is another useful site. It's just a matter of your preference here. So if we go here, this shows you a selector for it. So you can say identifier with a name of Thomas Edison. So that found just this one node here. You can see it highlighted it in here. Whereas if we change this to Nikola Tesla, that would find this other one. Or if we took this off completely, it would just find all the identifier nodes, which is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So the syntax is like CSS selectors. If you're familiar with those, or with jQuery, if you are old enough to have used that.
jQuery, what is that now?
I know. Some people didn't know the pain of the pre-jQuery days.
They came up living the good life before when browsers caught up and we didn't need jQuery as much.
You don't know what life was like back in my day.
I feel old.
Yeah, right.
Using jQuery.
Yeah. I remember not using jQuery, which was awful. Okay. So what we're going to do is we need to get the source path for this library. So let's see where we're going to get that from. We're going to use we used it earlier last time. Let's see. Not there. This one, I think. We want to do read project configuration. That's it. So let's get the library root here. Just copy that. Library root, and bring in this to tree. And scroll down there. Import that.
And I'm sure Colum is very familiar with all these utility methods as he's been going through and converting a lot of these from the previous syntax to using Nx Devkit. So
Nx Devkit makes it so much more straightforward.
Yeah. Okay, so file path comes in here. Okay, so this is I'm using this function up here that I pasted in. I'm going to visit every file inside of this library root, and we are going to use our TS query inside of here. So we're going to do get our contents of this particular file, tree.read file path dot toString. All right, now we can use TS query, and let's pull up the syntax here on the actual TS query site. So you do TS query, and where is it? So there's TS query.ast on something. You can get nodes by TS query AST. The method that I like to use most is TS query.replace, which is kind of a shorthand. So you can just say, hey, I'm going to find this node, and whatever value it has, I'm going to replace this whole node with a new string. So we're going to do, so the source is the contents, and then the selector is what we had in the playground here. Identifier name equals Thomas Edison.
This is kind of definitely a mix between, I would say a mix between string replacement and ASTs, to where you're just kind of providing the identifier or the
right. So it's using the ASTs to find the exact right place and to not have false positives. But then at the end, the output, you can just say, hey, replace this whole thing with the string that I specify. You don't have to construct your own AST node, because that's a bit more complicated. Let's see. And I think we can just put a string in here. No, it wants a string transformer. Let's see what I have over here. TS query.replace. Oh, I see. Okay. So this takes a callback here. You pass into the node. It gives you a node in the function, and then you have to return a string of some kind. There we go. So you could do some more logic on this node. Say you do some more checks or something. You can do. You have access to the whole tree from here. You can do node.parent and go up a level and check something about the parent, or node.get text that gives you the whole text for that node, and do some more information with that. But for our case, we know that we have exactly what we want, so we just want to return the string that we want here. Okay, so TS query.replace returns the new string, so it's not going to write anywhere. So new contents is this. Spell const correctly. And then we're going to do tree.write our file path and new contents. One thing that probably should remember to do is don't do a tree.write if the new contents hasn't changed. So let's put an if block around that. So if new contents is not equal to contents, so we don't need to do a write operation for no reason.
Another thing you should remember as well is that if you are doing a replacement with ASTs, is that make sure you commit your changes before doing another AST operation. Otherwise, you could try to perform AST updates on an old version of the file.
Yeah. So what this? So if I was going to do another, if I was going to do something else in here, like more contents, if I use the same. Like this contents here is immutable. So this is the original string. So if I replace this with something else, and then I do another something here, like more contents does not build on new contents. You'd want to do new contents here. Or if you were doing some of the other TS query functions, like modify the AST actual tree itself, and they don't spit out a string. And then you'd have to work with that new tree, not with the old tree. but we're only making one change here. So let's see if this works. Okay, so we're doing that, formatting files. Okay, let's try it. So the schema has not changed. We still want the library name. Oh, you know, I should set up a. Well, here, let's do it. No, I won't be complicated. Let's do it inside of products homepage. In index.txt, we're going to do const Thomas. We'll copy our test. We're going to save that, and we're going to do products-home-page is our input, and we'll see how it works. Tesla strikes back. Products-home-page. Let's see, it's doing the dry run. Okay, hidden error. Oh, same overly aggressive lint rules. That. Workspace.
Yeah, so there was a question in the chat about deploying monorepos while you're bringing that up. And I'll go ahead and plug our newsletter. If you haven't signed up for the newsletter, we just sent out a new newsletter for June for NX, and had an article in there about how to deploy from your monorepo. So definitely check that out if you haven't already, and sign up for the newsletter to get future updates on NX. In pitch.
Okay. All right, let's see what's going on here. Unable to resolve workspace generators, Tesla strikes back. Cannot find generator, Tesla strikes back. All right. What is?
Yeah, it seems like it was that one that you maybe ran into before, where you couldn't find the generated JSON file.
You can't find. Well, okay. Let me try. Reload in the window. Yeah, that won't make a difference for the CLI. So it's looking for tools, generators, workspace generators.json. Tesla strikes back. So maybe it doesn't like the camel case. Where is that? I do not have a formatter for JSON file. Okay, you know what? We're going to delete this. Running file delete participants. What? I've never seen that before.
VS Code is like, all the people that are in this live share are going goodbye.
Okay. Dist folder. So it's not in here. Tesla strikes. Okay. All right. You know what we're going to do? We're going to rename it to a kebab case. I think that's the issue. That And that, I think, is that the only place I need to change it? That's the idea is with kebab cases already. Maybe that'll work. There we go.
Hey.
That's... All right, so now it updated this file, and it did it. It changed that name, not this one, and not this one. Hooray!
Nice.
So this is an overly specific AST generator here. You probably don't want to do, hard-coded name change. You could make a generator that is, rename variable. That would make sense, and then you'd pass in the name, the old name, and the new name. This visit all files function, that's a handy function to have. And then if you had a rename all variables, if you had a rename all variables generator, then you could stack other generators on top of that. You could have something for adding an import, or all sorts of other things that that are specific to your code base and your organization.
Yeah,
but you can see here, like this was a simple thing, and it's simple for a developer to do, but fairly complex to programmatically make sure that it's not going to hit edge cases.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I was gonna say the one that comes to mind when you are talking about that is the move generator that we have. That will rename your files and move an existing library from one place to another. So,
yep.
And that, of course, that involves, like you said, many steps as far as you got to rename the library, then you have to find all the places where the library is being used and make sure all the references are updated there.
Yep. Well, I think that's it for me. So look forward to some new documentation coming on nx.dev. I think they were making a push. Hey, look at it! While we were on air,
yeah, 12.5 was released.
There's new. Latest 12 v12.5. There's now the using the new generators code is up on the nx.dev. So if you look at the modifying files page here, you can see at the bottom here some code that should look fairly similar because I just copied it. So you can go through that, and the custom executors code is not in this update yet, but it should be out soon. And that is it for my presentation.
Cool. Yeah, definitely look forward to that. Like I said, Nx 12.5 docs are out there. We'll have a post up soon that kind of goes through the rest of that, the other new things that are in with 12.5. And like Colum said, there'll be more updates coming to the plugins that we have for Nx that are being migrated over to Nx Devkit. Before we get into...
with
go
the
ahead.
release of 12.5, Nrwlian Angular is now Nx Devkit.
Okay. Yeah, another good mention there. That way, once we can move along with versions of Nx, and you can still have your generators and everything, not have to worry about like different versions of Angular Devkit or things like that in your workspace that may come along with a different version of Nx. So definitely good updates there. As you can see, we have our Twitter names on here, but we'll go ahead and show those up here. You can follow Colum. We got the last name, first name crew here, except for me.
Yeah.
We got Colum. You can follow him at Ferry Colum, Isaac at Mann Isaac, and I'm the outlier here with Brandon T. Roberts there. So
that's just because you got in early before everyone took first last
true.
name.
Yeah, I definitely wasn't able to get Brandon because that one is pretty unique, but I'll take it. Definitely check out our new nx.dev site if you haven't already. We have, like I said, we got a post coming up about that, but Definitely, or we recently rebuilt the site, and now it's running with Next.js, which is a React framework, which is definitely pretty cool there. And if you're watching this now and you haven't subscribed to the channel already, go ahead and subscribe to the Nrwlians.io channel. And if you're watching this on Twitch, you can subscribe to us there at NX Dev Tools. I'll post that link up there also. So definitely follow us in all the places, and definitely check out our GitHub repo if you want to consider contributing to NX. And with that, Isaac and Colum, thank you once again for sharing your knowledge with us about workspace automation. And then we'll see everyone next time when we come up with another topic for NX Office Hours. See ya.
All right. Bye. Thanks.
Bye.